Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon podcast. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr.
I'm J.D. Damron. What's going on, everybody?
And it is another beautiful Sunday here in the hills of Eastern Kentucky, and we are back and better than ever. After a week off, a well-earned, deserved week off for J.D. and I, we are ready to get this new year started with the Just Add Bourbon podcast. Of course, guys, want you to comment as J.D. and I are going through. We're probably just going to catch up a little bit, and then we've got a few topics, that we're going to work through today and discuss, and hopefully we entertain you guys while we do it. So, my brother JD, we haven't been on since Christmas, so I just wanted to kind of find out how your Christmas went and how was New Year's and all that.
Man, Christmas was good. It was weird. It's like, still getting used to this single life, man. Like, it's hard to get used to. I remember being married, they had to run to everybody's house, and it's like, oh, there can't be all these places at one time. Then you become single and like, no, I'm cool right here. I got nowhere to go.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, and especially with the COVID stuff going on. So, that, still getting used to that, man. But, I had some good gifts. Got the kids came over and hung out, which was always, blessing to me. I got some I got what's up, girl? Come on in. Just got some company drop by.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. You interrupt. I got some. You ever know what whiskey rocks are, man? You ever mess with any whiskey rocks?
I haven't.
All right, so it's like you freeze these things. I want to show you.
I see it there. Okay.
And like it don't. Now the ice don't melt in your glass and it distill your bourbon or your whiskey, whatever you're drinking.
Right, doesn't water it down.
Keeps it cold. Yeah, just keeps it cold without ever distilling your drink. And so I got a few cool little gifts, man. Chase got me a Bud Light bottle with like a Bluetooth speaker. Mm-hmm. My mom got me a shirt. Says this is my drinking shirt. I wear it every day. So more of the story is everybody thinks I'm an alcoholic.
right.
Which is crazy because as much as I work, there's no way I'm
there's no way. Yeah. No, Jay's working way too much to be drinking all the time. So, but Christmas, like for the first time in 10 years, man, we had a white Christmas.
Yeah.
It snowed like something crazy. And I told Amy, I said, I know this is awful to say, but I'm like you, dude. We have to go to all kinds of different places. Since my cousin passed away, we now do my mom's family Christmas party on the Saturday before Christmas Eve. Then we hang out at my mom's house on Christmas Eve. And then, of course, Christmas Day, we have breakfast. Everybody comes up. And then we're normally scurrying around, to go to Amy's dad's. And where it snowed, nobody really wanted to get out. So, dude, Christmas Day was like awesome. And I told Amy, I said, I hate to say this because I enjoy seeing everybody. But, we were up pretty late getting, Christmas set up, doing our thing. Sure. Girls got us up about 6 a.m., came in, opened gifts, and then Amy cooked breakfast, right? So everybody comes over, eats breakfast, and then normally everybody leaves and we get ourselves ready to go. Well, we didn't have to go anywhere. So I went in, lay down on the couch, turned on A Christmas Story, passed out, took a good 2-hour nap, got up, read some comic books. Kids were down hanging out, it was awesome. And I told Amy, and we ended up going to Amy's dad's the next day. And I said, look, I could get down with that, not having to go anywhere. It was actually kind of nice. So Christmas was fun. I don't get a ton of stuff for Christmas. I'm one of those people that if I want something, I buy it generally. And Amy did get me some, I can't even think of what they're called now. Mixed tiles. You know what those are? The pictures, like you order and they come those tiles. Mm-hmm. She got me some of those from my office.
That's awesome.
There were some pictures of the girls, which was really cool. I really dug that. And then the girls got me a couple of Funko Pops, for my collecting. Ashton is a working woman now. She tutors and has been tutoring. And so
that's good, man. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, she makes $100 a week.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's cash money, son.
Absolutely.
So like my entire goal, my dad used to tell me, my entire goal is to get you off my payroll. And he said, if I do that, I feel like I succeeded. So, but then New Year's Eve has not been the same for me since I've had kids, right? So I'm actually, all my friends' babysitters on New Year's Eve because I had about 25 teen/preteen children here in my house
Right.
on Christmas Eve, including your daughter, of
Right.
course. Haley's always here. She's like part of my family.
She's always
And
everywhere at home. That's where Haley's at.
that's right. That's right.
If the car's
So,
warm, Haley wants to be in it. So
Haley's inside. But she came over and like I said, we had a really good time with the kids. I ended up watching The Mandalorian, which if you haven't watched that yet, is dope, man. It's so good.
You think it's down my alley though? I don't know.
Do you like Star Wars at all?
Man, like I don't know. I can take Star Wars, leave it. Like,
you would probably take it or leave it, but it's really good. Like this second season, I saw a meme. It said something about you'll never be able to take the current Star Wars and satisfy the old crowd, and then it shows in a picture of Jon Favreau saying, "Here, hold my beer."
Yeah, I've seen that.
Because it was really cool. Like it was really good.
So New Year's Eve, man, I didn't make it to midnight. I ain't gonna lie. But we got called out for a line break of 292, and we got it wrapped up by 11:30. And I came home. I took my clothes off, and I passed out. I was exhausted, man. Like working all day, then get called out like that. Whew. And then
man, that's tough.
And so we ain't stopped all weekend. We worked even today, trying to take care of some things, and so I didn't make it to the ball drop, man. I was and I ain't mad about it either.
Well, it was one of those things. Like I really liked your post. I hated that you had to be out working. You know what I'm saying? But and all the guys, that were out working too. I said, but people don't understand. People who work in utility work, who first responders, people like that, dude, they don't really get holidays. You know what I mean? They hope they get a holiday, but they don't always get it, and they don't hear it enough. And I'll say it to you and to them if any of them are listening is we appreciate it, man. I said it's one of those things where there's a lot of negativity. We've talked about it on here before. A lot of negativity that surrounds the water district. Some of it warranted, and some of it not. But one thing that should never be mistaken is there is a group of people in our county that are working really, really hard to make it better. And especially, people out there on the front lines, man, who are having, like you said, it's, 12 o'clock, people are celebrating New Year's Eve. These guys are out in the mud, trying to make sure that people have water. And it's much appreciated. I said, you kind of look on those things, especially when you get older, you don't think about it. You're only worried about yourself. But as you get older and what we've experienced this past year with COVID, just appreciation that really people, the frontline workers, nurses, doctors, teachers, the guys in the utility companies, it's something that we should all be real thankful for, that there are people out there willing to do that work.
Yeah, I mean, people, that's what you hit on a lot, man. And it ain't just because you're getting older. If everything's good in your side of the world, you think everything's hunky-dory, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, we, even your all's board meeting, I've seen people commenting in about why they do this. It's because we've been covered up with everything else, man. I didn't change out your water meter because I was changing the main line break. That's why your meter will wait for the next day. I promise. And so, they think if something's bad in their corner of the world, then that's the most important thing. Well, maybe not. So, it's just not a matter of getting older. It's just a matter of perspective. And that's with everything. And,
yeah.
But yeah, it's been a task, man. It's going to continue to be a task, but. I just want my crew to appreciate, man, that them picking up the gauntlet and getting out there. When it's been easy to stay home for New Year's Eve, and I know those guys probably had plans like we all did, but they come through for me and the community. So it was good.
And the community, a lot of praise to those guys. It always
we actually had a lady stop by and give us a speech of Papa John's. So it was pretty
really
cool.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Like I said, dude, most people in the community get it. Especially with the water system, and we've talked about it ad nauseum on here, but there's a lot of things wrong. I mean, there are, but we're working hard every day. This board's trying to make good decisions. The guys with Alliance, you guys out there in the field, working hard, doing your thing every day. And it's getting better. Like I tell, our manager, Craig, every day, small victories, man. Small victories. Those small victories will end up being big victories, and ultimately we'll end up, having the water system we all deserve. I mean, in that meeting the other night was pretty contentious. I mean, it was, I got mad, and a couple other board members got mad too. I mean, it was, but it's hard decisions we're having to make, and
sure.
when you're sitting in that chair, and it's the same, man. And it's not just here.
It's easy, man. It's easy for everybody not in that chair, though. Is the point, man. Like,
yeah,
not looking at the numbers, not having to make the tough decisions. It's easy. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it's about perspective. Like, because when you get in that chair, the chair of the water board, that's a hat. You put that hat on. That's a hat that not everybody gets to wear, man. They don't get to see the things that you get to see, or know the things that They think, if things are good on their side of the world, then everything's good. But that's not necessarily. We got to have a different perspective. We got to look, 5 years, 10 years down the road, what's the best for Martin County Water,
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that, perspective.
No, that's well said. So let's talk about some fun stuff. Let's kind of start with college football championships now set. And one thing before we get into that, one thing I wanted to ask, it came to my mind while we were sitting here talking. The new year is always kind of a reset, right? So it's the new year, it's a new beginning. After the 2020 that we've had, did you feel like I felt it as far as more so than I have in years past, where I thought, okay, all right, we just got through one of the most difficult years in my lifetime as far as COVID and with the riots that we had, a presidential election, all this craziness that went on. And now we get to reset and go into a new year, and hope we got a vaccine now. So hopefully that works, and and things are getting better. Did you feel it like, okay, it's a new year, new day, new way of thinking?
Yeah, I'm the same exact way, man. It's like 2020 is finally over, and I feel like we can, hopefully make. I think we can all say 2020 kiss my ass, like
right.
You can go away, man. And so I'm always looking forward to the future and the possibilities of 2021. I'm not scared going forward, man. Like, 2021 could be worse than 2020, but it's going to be hell. It's going to have to be. It's going to try like hell if it's going to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's for sure. Like I do have some worries. I have some, some worries as far as policies with the new president and things like that. And we've talked about that on here too. Economically, sure. I've got some concerns that I'm going to have to deal with, coming up as we work through the year. But I've also got some exciting stuff happening. Sure. With the mortgage companies, some new locations, some growth, things that we're going to take advantage of and kind of work through. Podcast is continuing to grow. I'm excited about getting together every week and let's see what new happens. I said we were kind of joking, Trump's not going to be president anymore. What are we going to talk about? No. Biden's kind of boring. Maybe boring will be good for a while.
Well, I can stand some boring right now.
Mm-hmm. So, but no, I mean, that kind of thing, and then small towns growing. There's a lot of cool stuff that's.
Do you have any resolutions?
I'm not a New Year's resolution guy. I'm not a New Year's resolution guy. I mean, there's some goals. I'm one of those people who, at the end of every year, especially with my staff and my team, and I do it personally, is I kind of do a reflection on the year past, right? And I say, okay, and I've already got goals written down for 2021. Here's some goals that I have. I have some goals for this podcast. I have some goals for the Small Town Collectibles YouTube channel. I have some goals for my hometown mortgage. I have some goals for my family. I have some goals for my kids. I have all those things kind of written down and thought out, and that gives me a kind of a roadmap of things that I'm going to try. I have some goals for the Martin County Water District. I got some goals for the Roy F. Collier Community Center. I've got some goals set out for those things, and then I'll start working towards those. And I always kind of look back at the goals I set last year and see how many I accomplished. I'm glad to say I got about 85% of what I wanted done, goal set, and some of those goals will roll over into this year and apply this year. But as far as like a resolution, like I want to lose weight or I'm going to stay off social media more, that kind of thing, not really.
Yeah, I ain't either, man. Like I need to have some of those things, I think, but some of those things are taking care of themselves too. Like I said, with me working these many hours, you ain't got time to get on Facebook and argue with nobody.
Right. So, no, exactly. All right. So let's get into college football. We've got, Ohio State and Alabama. Alabama kind of rolled Notre Dame, which we all expected. And I don't think anybody expected Ohio State to do to Clemson what they did.
Absolutely not. I didn't. If they did, they need to start giving me some betting tips because Ohio State made Clemson look silly, man. At times.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they made him look awful. Justin Fields played a phenomenal game.
He was on fire, bro.
God, I mean, they were throwing bombs, dude. Not just a lot of short passes where your playmakers make plays.
Right.
Dude, he was throwing bombs. Yeah. I mean, and they were just out running, and it wasn't even like the receiver had to make a big play. He just ran and caught the ball.
Yeah.
But they made Clemson look silly, dude. Like, and then after Dabo too had said Ohio State should have been ranked 11th, they only played 6 games. And look, there ain't a bigger Ohio State hater in the world than me, but like I hate them almost as much as I do Tennessee. They were good.
Yeah. Wow. Here's what I don't understand. And I know Dabo's smarter than this, man. Like, why would you give a team as talented as Ohio State that kind of ammunition?
Yeah, man. I mean, because he said, you should be ranked 11th. You shouldn't even be in here. You shouldn't be this. And then you go and got your ass kicked. I mean, got your ass kicked. Oh. And then, so what do you think about the game, though? I mean, Ohio State and Alabama, like Alabama looks pretty unstoppable because they took their foot off the gas in that Notre Dame game so that they just didn't destroy them. Because I think Alabama could have put up 50, 60 points if they'd have kept their foot on the gas.
I don't know, man. I tell you, I was impressed with the coach from Ohio State. They made some really good adjustments quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because Clemson came out early in the first quarter and looked like they were going to abuse Ohio State. But it didn't take long to Ohio State to really adjust and shut Clemson completely down. And, that was impressive as well. I know Nick Saban is, the man of college football. But now this guy at Ohio State knows what's going on. It's going to be interesting, man. I think Ohio State just isn't quite as talented as Alabama up front. Cool. I think the Ohio State or the offensive line at Clemson is not the line at Alabama.
Right.
They were forcing Trevor Lawrence into a lot of silly, bad throws. And I just don't see they're going to be able to do that with Mac Jones with that offensive line in front of him. So I'm going to pick Alabama to win.
Yeah, me too. I mean, especially with the running game, you hit that one back, hurdle over that one cat. That was crazy.
That Kerr kid's good, bro. I didn't know he was that good. Like I was like, damn, he can play.
Yeah, and then Mac Jones, everybody kind of thought that was going to be a throwaway year as far as the quarterback's concerned. And that dude is a Heisman candidate. I mean, like he's legit. Yeah. I mean, he's a good quarterback. And then they got that wide receiver. His name escapes me right now. He's real meek when he talks, but dude, he might be the best player in college football. I mean,
the best player ain't playing, bro. The Waddle guy, or what's his name? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, Waddle. That's right. No, this kid is the guy that is. God, he's so good.
Yeah.
If anybody that's watching, if you know his name, tell us. But as far as, but I'm drawing a blank on it too. And then, but the other thing I noticed too, one thing that I saw was that the ACC actually went 0-6, I think, in bowl games because Kentucky. Beat NC State, who was ranked 23rd, and really didn't have that hard of a time with them.
Really good win for us, man. I didn't get to watch it 1 minute of it because obviously I was out working, but I was impressed when I seen the score. I know that NC State's not a pushover team. Top 25 team. For Kentucky to win that game, that's a great notch on Mark Stoops' belt. I thought that's a good way to end the year.
Yeah, sure. It was a great way to end the year, especially with all the stuff they've been through with COVID. Obviously, Schlarman passing away, Oates, what happened with Chris Oates. It was just a really good way to end the year. We ended 5-6 with basically an all SEC schedule. I was really, really pleased. And then you've got all these guys who have decided to come back. Like I think both the tight ends, Ali's coming back. You've got all these guys because of COVID, they get an extra year of eligibility. Yeah. And so you've got all these guys coming back, and then you're going to have a new quarterback with either Bo Allen or Gatewood and a new offensive coordinator from the Rams.
Did they hire that guy?
Yeah, they hired him. The guy from the Rams is who they hired. And again, his name escapes me right now. I listened to him on KSR the other day, and he was really good. Good interview, and I'm pumped about him showing up. So it should be good. I think we're going to be good. I mean, you look, if we played a normal schedule, dude, we're probably 9-4.
Yeah, at least I think we're a 7-8 win team for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're not a bad team. We just had to play Georgia, Florida, Alabama, right in a row. I mean, and then Georgia, beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati was legit, dude. A lot of people didn't give them respect, and they were legit.
I did not. I'll be honest with you. That was one of those guys looked at that matchup, and I was like, this would be an absolute demolishing. But Georgia just pulled it out at the end, man.
They were lucky to win, dude. That was a good game. They were lucky to win. So, and then, dude, Probably.
Which kind you want? All right.
And then probably the whole Bluegrass took a big exhale. Kentucky beat Mississippi State, their first SEC game of the year on the road. And our boy from Kentucky, from Kendall County, Dante Allen, dude.
Allen lost his mind, bro.
That dude went off. And really, that's been the controversy around the team for a few weeks now, is people have really been harping on Cal. Like, why aren't you playing Allen, dude? We can't shoot. Like, nobody on the court can shoot the ball.
We can't. He's right.
And Dante Allen can at least shoot a three, and they scrimmaged Transy the other night. I think he hit 7 of 10 threes in that scrimmage against Transy. And then he come out and dropped 24 points yesterday, dude, and it changed the entire look of the whole team. Because
didn't he have 0 points at halftime or something? Did he score all that in the second half?
I think it was all in the second half. No, I think he hit 1 3 in the first half, and then he scored the majority of his points in the second half. We got down by like 9. And then Cal got ejected, which happens at least once a year. And I'm still convinced that he goes over to the ref and says, "Hey, look, throw me out. I'm going to freak out here."
Those Hoosiers trick.
Yeah. Like, throw me out. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, and then it sparked the defense. Allen starts hitting threes. It opened up the floor. Askew played well. Mintz played well. And then what they did is B.J. Boston – Terrence Clark didn't play, but B.J. Boston was on the bench. Isaiah Jackson was on the bench. They had in Ware, Mintz, Sarr, Askew, and Allen. And those guys are our best team on the floor right now because they all play hard.
I'll tell you where the Boston kid, he needs to be on the bench, man.
He can't shoot.
I'm not impressed with him at all, man. And he was
supposed to be like a 1, 2, 3 pick in the NBA draft.
Dude, but I don't know, man. Maybe I missed it, but he shoots the ball every time he touches it, and he's terrible from what I can see. Like, as far as shooting goes, he may be a slasher type guy. I don't know. Maybe that's the deal.
I think that's the deal. I think that we didn't have anybody that could shoot, and so they would pack up the lane, and he could not get a clear lane to the basket.
That makes sense.
And I think what's going to happen now is if Dante Allen gets to play and he can continue to shoot like that, it's going to open up the floor, and we may get to see the B.J. Boston that we thought we were getting. I think Terrence Clark's probably going to have to hang around. Cameron Fletcher did come back after getting sent home. But like I said, the whole Bluegrass exhaled last night when we won, because it really there at one point, about 10 minutes to go, it didn't look like we were going to get beat again.
Yeah, I turned it on. I watched the end of the regulation, and I watched some of the second overtime, but there's a football game on, so you know what I was watching.
You're watching football, right? So, but I was really, really happy that we pulled that one out. And like I said, I know everybody. You and I have talked about it before. Everybody needs to quit freaking out. It's a different year. Cal's not had as much time with these guys as he normally will have with them, and we're having to play through something that you don't normally see. Normally, those guys are together all summer. Then they play the poop states, they play all those tune-up games, and then there will be the good games kind of in between. And athleticism will get you some wins in some of those games. But this year, where they just haven't had the time to be together, Cal hadn't figured it out yet, and I think they're starting to get it figured out. And by the end of the year, we'll be fine.
Are they doing the same thing with basketball? Are they doing with football? Is it giving those guys another year of eligibility and all that?
I think so. I think that's all in the NCAA. I think they're doing that with all of them. I think.
Because some guys can opt out too, and they're not counting against them or something. I don't know. There's all kinds of crazy stuff.
I know football was the one where that was really kind of a big deal. I'm not sure basketball is the same. Probably. I would think it's probably the same across all sports. The interesting thing will be to see is now that there's a vaccine, how back to normal do we get? And, is Biden going to – because one thing that I've seen, or it seems to be becoming evident, and maybe I'm wrong here, okay, but again, it's just one of those things where I'm kind of looking at the 3,000-foot view. I'm interested to see what you think. Is a lot of the places that we're doing the extreme lockdowns are seeing a big spike in cases. Like in California is really bad right now, and they've been under extreme lockdowns for most of this. Their hospitals are getting overrun. And a lot of people who are getting COVID, some of the things that are coming out now, are people who are wearing masks all the time and not going out because their immune system is getting down so much that it's getting them as far as them getting sick. And so I'm interested to see kind of going forward, now that there's a vaccine, how because there will be games like we were supposed to play South Carolina earlier in the week and didn't because they hadn't played in like a month because of COVID stuff. So they played their first game in a month yesterday. So I'm interested to see kind of how once the vaccine really, because you've got a lot of the people who need it the most are getting it now, right? So, and your first responders, nurses, doctors, et cetera, are they're going ahead and giving them the vaccine.
You know anybody that's got it yet?
I know a couple people. Amy's Aunt Brenda got it.
My sister-in-law got it.
Did she?
Yeah, she's a nurse, Lexington.
I know there's been some people have had some reactions to it. There's been, a few bad reactions to it, but for the most part, everything I'm hearing, everything's okay.
Yeah. Hey, I'm still going to take it whenever it becomes available, but I'm just glad, man, there is one available. And people can make their own decision. Of course, they're big boys, big girls, and I don't think anybody should be forced to do it. I will say that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they have a plan in place. Getting it to the essential these people, medical field, these medical workers, make sure they're getting taken care of. And I think after that it goes to the elderly and those who are really susceptible and could really lose their life to it. So I'm glad there's at least the action in place. I don't know, man, what life's going to look like after this. Do you?
I'm interested to see, man, how things go because we've talked about it. There's going to be a lot that changes, man. I said, I know my business has been changed now. We're not going back to the way it was done before. We'll do some things, face to face that we need to. It's just too efficient to be able to do things online.
And it has to be a huge cost savings, right? Mm-hmm. It has to be.
It is, man. I mean, and it's, as far as it's so efficient for me to be able to Zoom somebody, take an application, they can see my screen, they can do all those things. Then I send doc packages to them that they can digitally sign and come back. I mean, somebody comes in the office, it takes a good hour or so to do that doc package, to go through it. They can sit at home, read it themselves, digitally sign. I tell them there's a little place on there you can go over. If you read something, there's a notepad on it. You can go over and type in a question. And then they call me the next day and we work through the questions. I mean, it's really efficient. Like I almost get bored sometimes at work because used to there was a lot of time spent face to face with people, doing things where now you can do it so quickly and so efficiently that, what I've seen is I can grow.
Okay, so put that up.
Yeah, first responders and elderly 70 plus this week at the health department. So that's here locally for us. That's good.
Yeah, so I mentioned this to be a statewide, thing. I don't know.
What do you think about the politicians, JD, who are getting it first? Like the ones, if you're above a certain age, I think it's fine. But the ones who are healthy and, the risk is pretty low that even if you get it, you're not going to die. Like, what do you think about that? Do you think they should wait?
Yeah, I think it's way off color, man. I don't think that's first off, that's not what leaders do, right? What leaders put their people in front of them and make sure they're taken care of. Being a military guy, like when we go through chow hall, or whatever, even in the field, our officers were always the last people to eat. They want to make sure their men were taken care of. And it's like to see these politicians put themselves first is really off color to me and off putting. I think it's a very, very bad aesthetic, and I don't like it at all. I'm very far from that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mean either. Like I thought, look, if you're 70 plus, if you're an older,
it's totally different.
Yeah, I mean, you are high risk.
A 50-year-old?
Yeah, that's healthy. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's weird how it affects different people. Like there's been several people now that I know here that have had it, right? Some have gotten pretty sick. Some have had no symptoms. Some have, it was kind of like a cold, not a big deal. Now, we've known some people that have passed from it, but most of those people did have some kind of secondary illness or, some underlying condition in most cases. And it's just weird how the virus affects different people. Like you had that guy who was elected to the Congress, I think it was in Louisiana, that passed away, and he was a young guy.
Right.
That passed. So I think it's weird. I think we're still trying to figure out who it affects, why it affects, why, like I said, dude, I'm convinced that me and Amy had it. Convinced. Like I almost want to go get an antibody test just to see.
I've worked the same thing. It's hard to believe as many people as I've been around. I've worked basically through this whole thing. I've not been off at all because of COVID. There was a few weeks there I didn't work, but not because of COVID. But by and large, I was climbing into the man trips with the guys, the coal miners, shoulder to shoulder with them. They had families, and and one guy I worked with side by side, lived with his parents, and it's hard to believe that if I haven't caught it, I don't know how I have it. As cautious as I've been, even out in public, which I haven't been as cautious as I should be. I will say that up front. I can't believe that I haven't caught it, or I haven't felt bad, or I haven't, and maybe I have had it. It's very possible I had it and never knew it.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's one of those things that's weird. Like, I think one of the things, kind of looking back, and hindsight always is, as they say, 2020. But looking back, what I wish is the approach that would have been taken was a little more from the standpoint of, look, because I haven't had it. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure I got it. I've been wearing a mask for the most part. I don't wear a mask all the time, but I haven't been just like staying in the house, right? Like, I'm not just, shutting it down and not going anywhere. And I feel like there's something to, not necessarily herd immunity. There is probably something to herd immunity if it's done carefully, but I think like they really should have talked to people about how to raise your immune system. Like, none of that was done. It was just all kind of scary, and we're all going to die, and, go in the house, let's lock it down, let's wear a mask, let's do those things. But instead of talking about, hey, look, take your vitamins, like Chris Moore just posted here, I've read where certain low vitamin levels can cause it to be harder on you.
Yeah, I think that's a true thing, yeah.
And, like, okay, here's how you build your immune system up. And then if you're above a certain age, then you should probably stay away. You should be more careful about what you do, especially if you have some underlying conditions, and then let the rest of us kind of go on. I think that would have been a better approach. Like, you look at Florida, like comparing Florida and California. Florida's been pretty wide open the whole time, right? They've had a lot of cases, but not more so than places who did lockdowns.
Yeah, but maybe not more cases, but more cases per capita. Because California's had a lot of cases, but
they're huge.
It has a lot more people too. So
they're just kind of going through that right now, where like their hospitals are getting overrun. Like Newsom's getting a lot of criticism. They're but a
lot of that is, man. I mean, this. I mean, people are tired of being locked down, bro.
Yes, dude.
I'm tired of being locked down. I am absolutely wore out, bro. I'm tired. I'm ready to open back up. Let's party. Let's do something. Let's just have some events at the community center. Let's go to the club. Whatever your thing is, man. Go do it. Like I'm tired, man. I'm ready for life to go back to normal, and everybody is. And I think a lot of people have come to that point where they're just going to go do what they're going to do. And now a lot of people are getting sick because of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think people are just so tired of it. Like, I'm done with this, dude. I'm just going to go do my thing.
I'm going to get sick for a week, and I'll move on.
And I'll move on, right? And and that's one of the things I was looking at the other day on the CDC website was actually deaths. Overall deaths are actually lower this year than they have been in past years, just overall deaths. Also, their flu is non-existent, which means that everything is getting called COVID, right? So which is fine. And I think that's a money thing for the hospitals. Like, if it's a COVID, they have access to that CARES money or whatever. So I think probably if they can say it's COVID, they're going to say it's COVID, whether it is or not. Right. But that's one of the things that I think, going forward, that's one thing that Amy and I have been looking at as far as, because neither one of us are still convinced yet that we want to take the vaccine. Right, we're still not convinced we want to do it.
What is the kickback on? Like, are you afraid that the vaccine ain't safe? Are you afraid? Are you afraid there's a dip? Like, maybe I don't know. What is the?
There's a couple of things. Like, I don't take a flu vaccine. Okay, like I've never taken a flu vaccine in my life. I've never taken the flu vaccine.
Why's that?
Just because I don't think it's necessary. Like, I mean, they're putting a live virus or half dead virus in you, and I'm just not really game with that. I feel like I'd probably get sick. If I got it. It's just something I didn't feel was necessary. Now, my kids were vaccinated as children. I did all those vaccines. I feel like those vaccines are safe and proven. There is some, there are people that are anti-vaxxers out there, and that's fine. But to me, those are not as dangerous. I don't like how they load them all up in one shot. Like, I think that can, the mixture, I don't know, that seems
I actually think that my ex-wife was very adamant that our kids not be done that way, that they spread them out. I think they're supposed to be in 2 shots. I think our kids end up getting them in 4.
Yeah, like that. Well, that's what we did. I mean, because I thought that was kind of weird. I think part of it is I am I'm a risk taker in a lot of ways, okay? But when it comes to something like that, especially me and Amy getting something put in our bodies, like I talked to Clayton about it. He's a pharmacist, and he and I had a long conversation about it. And, I was like, is this something you think safe? He's like, dude, vaccines for the most part, all of them are safe. He said the way that they do them, it was a little rushed. I just want to see a few people get it. I want to see if anybody turns into Aunt said, yeah, Amy said, I haven't turned into a gorilla yet, but if I do, you know what's happened, that kind of thing. And some of it is, I just, is my thought process on the whole COVID thing altogether. Like,
is it maybe like you just don't want to be told what to do?
That's part of it. I mean, that's part of it. Like, I would have a real big problem with it if they said you have to get vaccinated. Like, I don't agree with that at all either. I would have a big problem with that. But as far as like, I'm not saying COVID is a hoax. There's too many people that have died from it, right? I mean, I'm not saying that it's a hoax. I think it was overblown for a reason. And I think that for a political reason. And, that I do think. I don't know that it's any more dangerous than the flu. I think the fact that the kids were kept out of school.
It's already been proven more dangerous than the flu, bro.
Well, I probably ought to take that back as far as it is more dangerous than the flu, but not, I guess when, like the way they were kind of bringing it across to begin with, JD, was they were like saying, look, millions of people are going to die. This is
millions of people would have died. We luckily did do things, but I mean,
but the survivability has turned out to be like 99% or 98%, something like that. And, and that's what I'm saying as far as like, I'm still reasonably healthy. If I was a little older, then I would probably be more apt to take the vaccine. But right now, I just don't feel like it's necessary. And I don't feel like that's a risk I necessarily need to take.
I mean, yeah, I respect that, man. I ain't got no problem with that at all, But I'm going to take it just because I feel like it reduces my chance of getting people I love sick. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's probably the reason I'm going to take it. Like, I'm not worried about me taking it. I'm not scared of COVID. I'm not scared I'm going to die from coronavirus or whatever. I'm scared. I'm going to walk around with it not knowing I'm going to give it to my mom.
Yeah. And that makes sense, too. Like, I respect that, too. That's something I totally respect. I mean, like my mom she won't take it. Like, she's like, no. She said, look, if it's my time, it's just my time. She said, I'm just not taking it. I don't want to take it. Like, I had, even kind of talked to her about it. I was like, look, it's probably something you should consider. Just because she does have some lung issues as far as asthma and some things like that. And I thought, if you got it, you're the type of person that could actually affect, it could actually harm because you do have an underlying condition. Right. And I kind of talked to her about it, but she was like, look, honey, she said, if it's my time, it's my time. I'm just not comfortable with it. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
I totally respect that, man. Also, like,
it is what it is.
It's her choice. It's her choice, man. Like, I'm all about anybody having their own choices, man. Like,
it's like, I'm not going to make fun of somebody for getting it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to give you a hard time saying you're stupid or crazy because you're getting, the vaccine. I don't think that at all. I'm like you. If they were saying, look, you 100%, you have to take this. Like, we thought for a second, we kind of thought that at the school, when they go back to school, that they were going to say, they asked, like Amy got an email, are you going to take the vaccine?
Right.
And so Amy and I talked about it, and I was like, it's totally up to you if you want to do it. I don't know that it's going to hurt you. That's when I talked to Wells, and I was like, how safe is this really? And he was like, dude, it's fine. He said, I'm going to take it, and I'll have, my wife will take it, my kids will take it and all that. And that made me feel a little better, because he's so careful. Sure. And he knows, and he understands that part of it. So that made me feel a little bit better. And it's why I'm not so like anti, like I still haven't decided, like, right now, probably not, but there may come a time where, like, if there's a new strain and millions of people start dying, shoot me up.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate with you here for a minute.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Because that's kind of what we do, right?
Right.
So there are vaccines that are mandated for kids to go to school. They got to take them before they can go to school. Mm-hmm. Like, are you dead set against those?
No, because those are more, the ones they take when they're young, like the polio vaccine and things like that. I'm not dead set against those, but there's also
tetanus vaccine.
What's that?
Tetanus. They got to take it. They got to have a tetanus shot before they go to school. Like,
yeah, but tetanus shot's really safe, and it's proven that it's been safe. As far as what I know, right. This is, I guess it's a lot of it is that it's new. and it's unsure because I have seen some people have some side effects from taking it. And I guess I just want to see what happens. Like I said, when Wells told me that it was safe and that he was probably going to do it himself, because he thinks a lot like I do as far as the way he views the world and the way he views things.
Right.
He views it very similarly to I do. We joke and say we share the same brain, but when he said that, it made me feel better because he actually understands it. He understands pharmacology. He understands, how those things work. And when he said he was going to take it, I was like, well, okay. So I thought, well, if Amy wants to take it, then we will, Wells was going to bring us down to the pharmacy when they did it. We were just going to all have it done. But I don't know. Like I said, Amy's not real game with it just yet. So
I gotta ask you, man, because we didn't get to talk about this yet, and I wanted to talk to you about last week. Would you see this guy that bombed the building in Nashville?
Yeah, dude, that was crazy. I mean, I didn't have cell service for a couple of days.
Oh, well, so you was affected by the AT&T outage. So I guess this guy, man, was like, first off, he's obviously schizophrenia, but he thinks that people are aliens and they've got the switches in our brains, like so we can't recognize aliens. 5G, so a couple of years ago, I guess his girlfriend called the cops and told him he was building bombs and stuff. They went to his house, knocked on his door. He ended up not searching because he went home. Never did go back. This guy thinks people are lizard people, and he's got a girlfriend. Here I am, single.
Right. That was your takeaway.
That's right. But I almost feel like so this guy is unstable, right? And we got all these conspiracy theories, man. Like there's conspiracy theories about everything anymore. Like, isn't this the sum of those things, man? Like those that eventually somebody carry those things too far, man. Like they think the 5G is the coronavirus or spreading coronavirus.
Yeah,
and isn't that why conspiracy theories are so dangerous? Because there are unstable people out there that
there are some
crazy things like this.
There are, and I agree with that. Some conspiracy theories, man, like that's a different level. Like I think that most people, like I believe in conspiracy theories, right? I'm reading a comic book right now. It's called The Department of Truth. All right. And it's based around all these conspiracy theories, right? Like, that Obama was selected from a young age to be president. Like it's all based around
like Manchurian candidate or whatever.
Kind of, yeah. And, like Kennedy, that was an experiment, and that's why they killed them all, because it was a failed experiment and they needed somebody that they could control. So that's what the comic book's based around. And in this Department of Truth are the people, all these things are actually real, but they're the people who keep it from going so far, people realizing it and going so far that they do crazy stuff like this, right? What is it? We all have voting machines of just about, I don't know.
I see Eric's statement. Like, Eric, come on now, bro. The both political parties do this.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that here in just a second, because JD had made a post earlier in the week that I like half agreed with and half disagreed with. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute, and it'll be kind of along this line. And Josh, I'm not following exactly what you're saying there. Just the battleground states located there. I don't know.
Josh, how good is that W broken? That's what I know right now.
But no, as far as like it's conspiracy.
No. That was a conspiracy theory. That was a conspiracy. That's why that was one of the things that showed up on Facebook, is that all the Dominion machines were being recalibrated or something.
Oh yeah,
in Nashville, and he was showing up, but that's totally, obviously, a false thing. Really.
Hold on, let me get this right here. Hold on.
Jimmy Fletcher was a conspiracy theorist until I met JD.
So, which JD are you talking about? The good-looking one, or
the good-looking one? Me.
Yeah, or JD Damron. Yeah, it's a rabbit hole conspiracy on the bomb. I got you. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I heard that because they were saying the Dominion machines were stored there, and they blew them up because they didn't want anybody to realize that that's right. I remember that now. But no, I agree with what you're saying, though, JD, is sometimes that stuff goes too far, like the Pizzagate thing. Right. The guy shows up, shoots up, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But, if there was a conspiracy theory and dude shows up with a gun and starts trying to shoot people. What is this?
Oh.
It's awesome. 6 franchise QB.
So I will give you some. I'm gonna blow him up for a minute. That's good.
Do it. Lay it on him.
Hey man, the Cleveland Browns, they're a legit team, man. They're in the playoffs. Baker Mayfield is a franchise quarterback. Absolutely, he's playing ball. He's balling out.
He's balling out.
Congrats to you, Josh. I know it's been a long time, but hey, your Buckeyes won too last night, bro. So congratulations on that. Wait
a minute, he's no Ohio State fan.
It's the inside joke. He's got that sticker. I told you about that sticker on the back of his.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a Browns sticker, but it's red and white, and it's got a picture of the house there.
Ohio State. Yeah, that's right. All right, so we're about 45 minutes in, so let's jump into your post that you made this week. So JD made a post. I'll let you tell it. You made the post. Go ahead.
So I just made the post that these straight ticket Republican votes are looking pretty ridiculous right now, huh? That was pretty stupid right now, whatever, huh? Because of Mitch McConnell holding up the money that the Democrats have been fighting for months and months to get to the American people. That we find out now, and of course Mitch McConnell is holding that up and denying that to the American people, even though the President Trump, who understands our economy very well, according to his supporters, he understands the economy. And he is uniquely qualified for his position. He knows the economy so well and so good at these things. Even though he supports the $2,000 checks, the Republican Party still says it's a bad idea. So that was my premise of the.
All right. So let me go. Let me kind of tell you what I agreed with and then what I disagreed
with.
All right. So I 100% agree that straight ticket voting is crazy. You should never straight ticket vote. Now, you may go down through there, and it may be the Republicans that you agree with, and that's fine. But you should never go in looking, I'm just voting Republican because they're all Republican. I think you've got to look at each individual race, determine for yourself who you think is the best candidate. And if that's all Republicans, that's fine. But just my grandfather was like that, but he would vote Democrat back in the day because he was a union guy. So we would go in. Hell, I walked into a voting booth with him back in the 80s. I was pretty young, and he was on a walker and didn't have one leg, had a prosthetic leg, and he just said, "Hit that Democrat lever," and that's how he voted. And my dad, on the other hand, was the guy that was like, "Look, you never do that." My dad was a Democrat, and he was like, "Look, you never do that." He said there are going to be times where the Democrat is not the right candidate. So I think that is 100% wrong to do. I think the fact that Mitch McConnell is holding it up, I agree with that. That's stupid. I mean, look, Trump is qualified. Now, Trump, it's a political play because he's pissed at the Republicans because they won't go along with his saying he got cheated out of the election.
So he's just like every other politician, man. He's a politician.
He's a politician. He's become a politician. He is doing, now, is he uniquely qualified based on the business sense that he has? Sure, he is. I think he is. All right, here's where my pushback, though, okay? To lay this on McConnell when for the past 6 months, the Democrats have been holding it up, trying to because Pelosi said it.
I tried to find that, by the way, and I couldn't find it.
They have held it up, dude, for 6 months. I heard Pelosi out of her mouth say, this was on CNN, I heard her say, well, we can look at it now because we got a new president.
So I respect you saying that, man, but I have absolutely tried to find that video, tried to find a news article, trying to find something where we're saying that, and I just can't find it.
I'll send it to you. I think I can look at it.
But, I mean, we got a president, we've said he's uniquely qualified to do this. He says we ought to get to $2,000. The Democrats have been trying to get $2,000 in the budget in this bill for 3 or 4 months, bro. And it's always been shot down by the Republicans. So,
well, not because it's the $2,000. It's all the other crap that got.
No, that's not true though. That's the play. That's what they're saying now. That's being hindsight. That's what they're doing. They're trying to play because of all the fat, right? But the truth is, those things have been in every budget that Trump's had so far. All those things have been.
No, you're right. You're right about that.
So why is that holding up this bill then?
Well, in the past, the Democrats absolutely held the bill up, okay? And like I said, I'll find you the articles. But, I mean, they were holding it up, and it was a political play because it was when the presidential election was going on. They did not want anything good like that to happen, and Trump have any part of that, right? Because they were working for Biden, and which is fine. It's a political play. But to lay it off, well, it's not fine. No, you're right. It's not fine. it is like that. I think we were sitting in the community center that night, and they had just shot down. The Democrats had just shot down the bill, and we were starting to get into that as far as okay. So that had just happened, and that's when we were joking around.
Because the corporate fat, though, not because of the other fat.
Mm-hmm. Well, they had shot it down. All right, so they had been holding it up, and they had been holding it up for a while, and it was a political play, and it's not right, and it's not right what McConnell did now, and that's the part that I disagreed with. Like, you can't, like, for me, here's how I view it, JD, is what McConnell did was wrong, all right, and they even, like Lindsey Graham and even those other guys were saying, look, take it out and make it an individual thing and vote on that. You don't have to give the American people $2,000, right? And then we'll vote on this other stuff at a different time. But the people need the money. But that's also a political play for them because of the Georgia election that's getting ready to happen. So they're trying to make it look good. You know, yeah, we got you your $2,000. Now, I am not one who necessarily thinks that everybody needs $2,000. I don't need it. I mean, I would love to have it. I paid it in taxes. So you want to give it to me, I'll take it.
Anybody I know going to turn away $2,000, bro.
No.
And, I mean, I don't need it. But if you put $2,000 in my mailbox, I will cash it tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'm going to do the same thing. But that was the part, like, I actually agree with everything you said in your post, except for that part where I'm like, look, if you're going to hold him accountable, then hold the people in the other party accountable too for what they did during the election.
I need to see that though. That's why. So when as soon as because I you know me, man. Like if you show it to me, I'll get on Just That Bourbon Podcast Facebook page, and I'll be like, hey, Jimmy Don was right. Here it is. Bam. But I can't find this.
Yeah.
But now the Democrats have been trying to get the $2,000. The $2,000 has been in the Democratic plan the whole time to the American people. Yeah. So I think what Trump's doing, you're right. He's being a politician, though. He is being a politician because he's pissed off. And McConnell's actually like growing a backbone against Trump because he thinks Trump's leaving, obviously. But you know, he's saying he's not going to vote on it, and all the other Republicans are playing a really good game, man. Honestly, and they're saying, "Oh, we agree with the $2,000. We agree with the $2,000," but they know McConnell's not going to let it come to vote, so they don't have to put their vote aside.
Right, because and really the thing that they understand is that one thing that McConnell's trying to tie to it is that bill on the social media. I can't remember the name of the bill, but it would basically destroy social media companies if they did that because nobody would be able to comment, and that's what kind of makes those things, you know, turn. Right. And McConnell knows that, and he knows they're not going to vote for that. So that's why he's trying to tie it to that. And no, look, here's the thing I want everybody to know that I think, as far as what Trump's playing politics right now with that $2,000, he's playing politics. The Democrats have been playing politics with that stuff for some time before that.
And the Republicans have too.
And the Republicans have too. And that's what I'm saying. Everybody's got to understand that. That's the part that I want everybody to understand is it's both sides. And that was the only thing about your post I disagreed with. I was like, that's actually, he's dead on. But don't leave out the part where everybody, you know, before that was doing the same exact thing. And that's the part that wears me out is, look, let's have our eyes open.
Sure.
That everybody's doing this crap.
And I want to. So like I said, man, I'm more than, you know, I'm man enough to say I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
I know you are.
I'm here next Sunday, man. No. I mean, next Sunday, I'm like, hey, Jimmy Don, he sent it to me. It's on. It's right. Pelosi did say that. Absolutely. But here's where I get frustrated. And everybody's like, oh, well, our choice was Amy McGrath. But Amy McGrath, man, would have been a junior senator for Kentucky. You know, and obviously, you know, she wouldn't even be in office right now, so she couldn't hold this bill up. But to give somebody like Mitch McConnell, who was a lapdog, has been a lapdog for the Republican Party for years and years and years.
He's a lapdog for big corporate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They want to blame everything on the Democrats with China. He's just as bad.
Absolutely. So like, I know Amy McGrath wasn't ideal. You know, I'd much rather vote for Charles Booker. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I also understand that McGrath wouldn't have had the power that McConnell has in the Senate. And like we've talked about here before, McConnell having all this power and not doing a damn thing with it, bro.
Not for Kentucky.
Not he's holding up bills that could help all kinds of Americans right now.
Yep.
I'm telling you, man, for the average American, the difference between $600 and $2,000 is a huge difference. Maybe not from, I mean, like I said, man, like I don't care. If they send me $600, I'll spend it. It's fine. They send me $2,000 to spend it. It's fine. But what about the guy out there who's got a small chainsaw and he's doing little landscaping jobs? But man, if he had $2,000, he'd go buy a new chainsaw and take on a bigger contract or their mom and pop that needs a new air fryer. And the thing is, man, I'm not really for the government giving handouts like that. I'm really not. But when you mandate that your businesses reduce the size of the capacity, and you mandate them quarantine, you mandate they turn people away, then they ought to pay you. They ought to compensate you for that. In my opinion, that's just my opinion.
Because this whole thing, man, has put a lot of businesses out that'll never be able to come back. It's broke a lot of people. Bankruptcy numbers are already on the rise. So
if we have to quarantine, we ought to get paid to do it, man. These people shouldn't be going bankrupt to do it because small businesses runs America, period.
Yeah, or let small business operate, because the only people that have gotten richer are corporate America in these lockdowns. I mean, look, like I thought.
I'm all for just shutting down Walmart for a length of time and letting.
That's what I was going to say. Let's let the small businesses open and shut Walmart and Amazon down.
I'm for that. I am for that.
All right, so Josh brought this up, and I think this is what you were talking about. So let's hit a couple more topics. Let's hit this one first. All right, so I think Georgia's going to flip this week.
It's going to.
And it may. That part scares me more than anything, okay? Like, I want divided government because I am a lot of the policies are progressive, right? They're more progressive than I am as far as – so this is just me, Jimmy Don, talking about how he thinks about things. A lot of the policies that the Democratic Party have right now are far more progressive than I'm comfortable with, okay? And not on social issues. That stuff's fine. Like, people bash Trump. Trump didn't change anything, on the social aspect of things. It is. But being able to just ramrod through what you want, could change the face of our country, like packing the Supreme Court, like adding states, like – letting anybody that wants to come in this country when you don't have a business plan of how you're going to pay for it. Like, that stuff scares me.
I think that's a fair assessment, man. Like, there's nothing wrong. I like a split government too. I like accountability. I like checks and balances. I think we need to do something, man. I think Mitch has got too much power. The way we do our Senate, I don't like that, man.
I don't either.
Everybody wants to vote on this bill, but the one guy says we're not going to bring it to vote. Now we're just going to bring it to vote. I think that's not the way things should be. Maybe I'm wrong. But I also don't like Democrats controlling the House, the Senate, and the White House. And I don't like the Republicans controlling the House, the Senate, and the White House. I don't like that.
I like divided government. I like there to be a stopgap there. Just like with
the checks and balances, man. It's all about that, man. Because if you're able to just do whatever you want, man, then you got a monarchy. The guys just calling the shots at the top, and that's all there is to it.
Well, it's just like if Trump had a Republican Senate and Congress or House, I would be scared of that. Like, I don't like all that power in one direction. And, you don't have to agree with me on a lot of my politics, and that's okay. And like I said, JD and I have proven that you can be good friends and not agree on politics. But that scares me. Like, it scares me that would be the case. And I've seen some of the economic impacts, and JD and I have talked about this a lot off camera, and it's a lot of why I feel the way I do, because I agree with a lot of the Democratic principles as far as I guess I would consider myself more of a Kennedy Democrat, like especially when it comes to social issues, healthcare, things like that. I actually agree with the Democratic Party on the base idea of what they want to accomplish. Now, I don't always agree with how you get there, but I agree with the base idea, and I can work with that. But having just single government where they can do whatever in the hell they want, that scares me. And so, I hope that it doesn't flip, but it very well could.
And I think that's a valid point, man. I don't think anybody listening is against that. I really, anybody that wants one party to have all three seats, all three houses, all three
because that goes down to your judges.
Congress and the House, the White House. You don't want to do that, man.
Too much power. It goes down to your judges. It goes down to everything, and that's why I'm saying, like, there's good when it changes. Every so often. I think that's what the American people, the most of the time, like. But now, one thing I do hope, JD, like, I hope the election's close. Okay, like, if the Republicans go down there and win like this big landslide, Trump is never going to shut up.
Right.
All right. So, and for the hell of our country, we got to move on.
But I also feel like Biden, and one of the things I liked about Obama, I know that's unpopular, but, Biden couldn't get, or Obama couldn't work with the Republican Senate at all. They wouldn't do anything. They just wouldn't let him because they didn't want to give him any wins. And so he went and signed the executive orders like on the Dreamers thing.
Yeah.
And they came to him and said, "That's terrible law." He goes, "Okay, well, bring me something better."
Yeah, work with me.
Repeal it and then bring me something better. And you know what? They never did.
Never did.
They just got in front of the camera and talked about how terrible it was, and then they didn't do anything about it. And I think if the Republicans win in Georgia, Biden will do the same exact thing. Sign these executive orders and say, if you don't like this, then bring me something better and we'll work. Let's work together. But if not, here's what you got. And I think that's attitude, man, sometimes you have to have, unfortunately. But I'd rather have that and have checks and balances than have somebody with just complete power. Because you know what absolute power does? It corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely. That's right, man. And I said, and that's the part that scares me more than anything is not, look, the sun, I said it when Biden won, the sun will come up tomorrow. I will continue to go to work and do what I do. And, hopefully the policies that they enact don't kill my business. That's all I'm hoping for.
Right.
And,
I hope I do.
Yeah, I know you do. Nobody wants that, dude. I mean, we've seen what can happen. Like, I want it to be, I like being self-employed. I don't work well for others. I need, for me, my personal sanity, I almost need that. And I hope that doesn't change, and it may make it harder, but I've worked hard before, and I don't care to work hard again. It's just one of those things where that, like I said, that just scares me a bit. Now, the last thing, JD, and then we'll finish, and I'm going to let you have the floor on this. And I think this is what Josh is talking about here.
Yeah.
Is this one. Have y'all talked about the video from the Washington Post tonight? And JD and I talked about it off camera. I didn't know anything about it. And so JD, kind of explain what went down.
So Trump apparently had an hour-long conversation with the Georgia Secretary of State, basically asking him to lie and give him, has Dominion been there moving machines out? No, we haven't seen them. Well, have they been replacing parts inside? No, we haven't seen that. Well, I really need to find 11,180 votes or whatever it is, 780 votes, and I need you to play ball. It's like, and to me, man, like at some point, like it ain't a point if you vote for him or if you think he's the best guy for the job or not. At some point, it's about accepting results of the election and moving on. And I think we're at the point where, this guy's trying to undermine our democracy plainly by calling up the Secretary of State and asking him to find 11,000, almost 12,000 votes. And
I don't disagree with that. And I'm one of those people who kind of think, I believe that there was some funny business, okay? But at the end of the day, that reeks of desperation. And at some point, either you can prove it or you can't. Okay, right. No matter what Jimmy Don thinks or no matter what, Joe Blow down the road thinks, if you can't prove it in a court of law, then let's move on. And, do I want Biden? Would I love for Trump to be the president for 4 more years? Yes, I would, because policy-wise, economically, for me personally, I think it would be better.
Right. That's advantageous to you, man. I get that.
It's advantageous to me. And, and so, yeah, sure. But the overall health of our country is probably the most important thing in our democracy. And so at some point, you just got to throw your hands up and say, look, can't prove it. Would love to, be your president for 4 more years, but I got beaten. Let's move on. Right. And I think Harrison's right, too. I read this. Both sides have been just whiny little children for a few years now. They all get butthurt when they don't get their way, and there's absolutely some truth to that.
Absolutely,
both sides. You listen to Pelosi, you can listen to Schumer, you can listen to McConnell, you can listen to Trump. All of them, man. I said it's like you got to get your way. If you don't, they throw a temper tantrum, and that is. Let's see here. What does this say? It scares me. It's where the country is headed as far as division and conflict.
Yeah, I mean, I felt the same way, man. But I'm hoping that cooler heads prevail, and this is going to finally get resolved. Hopefully this week. And man, there's not been violence yet.
And I don't think there will be. I mean, I think there will be if somehow, and something JD and I talked about off air that we'll talk about next week. But we both need to kind of get educated on it at least somewhat before we talk about it. Is what the senators are trying to do right now with the Electoral College. And I need a little bit of. I told JD I'd love to talk about it, but I don't have enough background on it to really talk about it, in some intelligent manner. And that's something we'll talk about next week. I don't think, even if Biden becomes president, the one thing I think is most conservatives just want to work. They want their families to do well. And I think Democrats too, even Democrats, most people just want to get by. They want to work. They want to enjoy their families. They just want to live their lives and not have to worry about it. At the end of the day, I think I haven't heard if there's any riots still going on in some of these cities. If they are, they're not. It's not on TV. And
so put Michael's comment up there because they got something to say about that. The only fraud charge, I think, if you dig too deep into election fraud, they would find is there on all sides. So right now, I think that's absolutely right. It's not going to be widespread fraud, I don't think.
If we're being honest, it's probably right.
Sure.
On both sides.
Well, the only person that's been charged with fraud yet is the guy in Pennsylvania, who's a Republican, who voted for his mom and tried to pretend to be his mom, who's dead, and voted for Trump twice. And so now he's actually the only person that's been charged that I know of for fraud in this election. And I'm sure, man, it happens in every election. But now what we're talking about is widespread fraud. Something that's going to turn the balance of power. Which I just don't, every court in America has said there's no evidence of it. And so I think, Jimmy Don's point's well taken. We need to move on from where we're at.
Yeah, no, just for the overall health of our country, man. Like Absolutely. I said, there's a lot of people.
Our country's more important than any one person, man. Any one party. Our country is above all that.
The idea of America is more important than any one person and what it's supposed to represent. And we're not perfect, but we try to get better every day. And then Josh, and we'll talk about this because JD and I both will look into it. I think they had a commission in an election in the 1800s, and old Ted is wanting to form something like that. And that may be, and it might not be. If people truly think that there was widespread fraud, then that's something that needs to be investigated. But at the same time, if constitutionally, if you cannot prove this, then we all have to move on, whether we think it's a good thing or not. Like I said, you just hope there's not enough damage on it to. Or damage to the country if something, happened. I don't know. I just don't think that there's going to be I'm not the sky is falling kind of guy. Nope. Because Biden got elected, I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think China's necessarily coming here to take over any more than they already have.
Right. I think what's the worst thing that could happen, man, is we go in and reverse the results of this election. And I would have said the same exact thing had Trump won. Because we can't disenfranchise more people. We want more people to feel like their voices are heard. We want more people taking a part of this, not less people. Not less people who feel like they're disenfranchised, they don't matter, they're turned away, they're cast out. We want more people to have a voice, to be heard. And the best way to hear our voice is how, Jimmy?
To vote.
To vote. That's it.
That's right. And it is, it's one of those things where our country's so split right now that, and to Chris's point, our country's so split right now that half the country's going to feel disenfranchised if they lose, right? Your feelings are hurt and you're all that. But
your vote's got to count, though.
Your vote has to count. I agree with that 100%. Your vote has to count. And then, like I said, Trump's going to do what Trump's going to do. And I think going through the process of that is fine. But at some point, if you can't prove what you're saying, then we have to move on as a country for the health of the country. Right. I think that's a good place to end it, JD.
Absolutely, brother.
Fun show, dude. That was a good time.
I swear.
Well, I know we laugh all the time. I was tired today. I was like, God, I've been lazy for 3 days. This is the time.
Good for you, bro. I'm glad.
Yeah, I've been lazy for 3 days. This is my time of the year when I do that because we work like mad people all year. We take a few days off this time of the year, so I was happy to have a few days just to chill out and be lazy. I started Cobra Kai new season's out.
Have you watched it?
I watched the first episode last night.
Sarah just walked in here. I'm gonna make her go feed me Mexican. Then we may turn it on. We may turn on the Game of Thrones.
Ooh, that's what you need to do. Yeah, absolutely. You need to get her started on that so she can become.
She started on it. She's like episode 7 or 8, and she was like, she texted me today, want to know she was like, how can I watch Game of Thrones? It's like, you have my HBO Max password. She goes, I got it. Or I could just come there and watch. I was like, Come on, girl. Listen.
Come on.
What you doing? What's your name?
Game of Thrones. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, cool. Guys, we appreciate you coming and hanging out with JD and I for this past hour. Thank you, Eric. Bringing it, boys. It's great. Yeah, no, we appreciate it, man. A lot of good things in 2021. Really excited, JD, to get
Before we get off here, man, I went to the wedding today. My boy, Stephen Jude, he's one of my guys. He works for me. He got married today.
Well, good for Stephen. Congratulations.
So, congratulations, you, Fred. I know that's what we call Steve, man. He's Fred. I don't know.
Yeah.
But congratulations, you. Hope the year is full of blessings. Hey, my boy Parker Maynard went 4-0 this week in wrestling. What's up, Parker?
Let's throw him up on the screen.
Hey, JD. Hey, put the E in there, bro. Come on now. Anyway, Parker, good seeing you, brother. Love you, Park. Keep wearing those guys out, putting them in the mat.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Of course, you can find us obviously live here every Sunday at 6 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube. Eric's running the social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And, of course, you can find the podcast itself on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, and, of course, Podbean, which is where we launched from. I'm a little rusty. Haven't said it in a couple of weeks, but I'm going to give it a shot. No matter how bad your week's been, no matter how bad your day's going, if you just have bourbon, it always gets a little bit better. That's how you do it.